Guys, good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It is 6 a.m. bright and early here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this is my second video of the day. It's a little more lighthearted. I don't know what to call it. Maybe you guys will have some suggestions. Silly Trumper stories, America's most ridiculous conservatives, Trumpers panties in a bunch, whining cult of Trumpers today. I don't know. You get the gist. All right, I got about 3 stories that I saw. As you guys know, I go through the conservative stories, liberal, everything in between every day to weed out what's true, what's not, get a gist of, feel what's going on. And in the conservative pages, in the liberal pages on Fox News, Newsmax, and so on, I kept seeing repeating stories. What Trump supporters and their conservative folk were really upset about, what was on their minds. And I came across 3 main stories. So let me talk about them. The first one is, this is just ridiculous, but Trump supporters apparently, I wouldn't even remembered it 5 minutes after it happened. Chuck Schumer accidentally says Trump incited the erection instead of Trump incited the insurrection. I don't know, you can call it a Freudian slip or whatever, but like I said, this is something, I think most normal people would have overlooked or got a laugh out of and moved on and probably wouldn't have remembered it by lunchtime or supper time or whatever. But surprisingly, this is a big story in the conservative pages in Trump world. That Chuck Schumer slipped. I don't know. I don't, and it kind of creeps me out. I don't know if this is like Trump supporters, male and female, bragging that that everybody knows their leader inspires erections. It creeps me out that they're even making a big deal out of this. It's funny. I would have gotten a laugh out of it, and then I would have moved on. But the fact that they're making a big story out of this, I don't know. It started to creep me out. Anyway, on that note, let's move on. Next story. Okay, the picture of Joe Biden, Jill Biden, and their 7 close relatives in the Lincoln Memorial. One picture with no masks. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Biden is a proven hypocrite. Uh-oh, we better impeach him. All right, so I looked it up, and yeah, he already did sign the mandate that made it a regulation that everybody wears a mask on federal land. So yes, he was violating his own regulation he just signed an hour or 2 before. I tell you what, like I said, this was Joe and Jill Biden, their daughter, 4 grandkids, and I think maybe a couple spouses. All right, Joe and Jill and close family, just like you have at Christmas or Thanksgiving. You guys, you conservatives, remember that Christmas and Thanksgiving, where you were complaining about having your close friends and family together and not wearing masks and all that. Well, one picture, all right, and yeah, okay, he did it. You can call him a hypocrite, but I tell you what, if this is the worst, if this is an example of the worst thing that I'll see out of Joe Biden on a daily or weekly basis for the next 4 years, I will gladly welcome it. As opposed to the last 4 years of gross incompetence, corruption, lies, arrogance. If this is the worst kind of thing that we're going to be dealing with Joe Biden, that he took a family picture to memorialize him and his family, him being inaugurated president at the Lincoln Memorial, 30 seconds without a mask at the most. If this is the worst, the most hypocrisy that Joe Biden will show during the next 4 years, then I gladly welcome it as a huge step up from the last 4 years. And that's all I'll say about that. Moving on to the next story, the National Guard. Now, this is a story that it is all over conservative media and everything, and it seems like, of course, it sounds like they're making it sound like Joe Biden himself ordered the National Guard to go sleep in the alleyways, in the sewers, So I started looking at this, and okay, now this is where somebody like Bo the Fifth Column, this is more his forte. He knows how the military, National Guard, how they work, how they move from one area to another, and I don't even know the words for that stuff. But let me just use some common sense and logic here, okay? So 25,000 National Guard were at the Capitol. We all know why. Because of the insurrection, the massive amount of people, and the low security, the big screw up that allowed that to happen. So this is why these people were there. Now, thinking about this, American citizens and the world, nobody wants to see the military in the Capitol. To see our Capitol, the White House, or whatever, any the main branch of our government like this occupied by our own military. It doesn't look good. It's not good for our country. So I could understand that as soon as the inauguration was over, their duty, was over, and it was time for them to leave. And not to mention all the firearms and everything else around, and all the people, and the logistics of all that. It would make it much more simpler, I think, after the inauguration for security to have the National Guard move on and they're needed elsewhere on top of that. So I could understand that they would be moved on quickly, probably by their own brass. I imagine they have places to be, So I can't imagine it was Joe Biden or the Democrats or anything like that ordered them out of the White House right away. I don't have any evidence of that, and it doesn't make sense to me. Second of all, now they talk about this parking garage, and there was one bathroom for 5,000 men, and there was no Wi-Fi service. Again, this seems specifically like the military brass, the military, the leaders in the National Guard are responsible for where the housing, the bathrooms, the Wi-Fi, or whatever. Once they left their mission at the Capitol, once that mission was over, I don't see how it was any business or it had anything to do with the Democrats or the Capitol or Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden. I would think it was the military brass, their leaders, that would be the ones that would talk about putting portalets wherever to take care of their men. So I don't understand. This story is all over conservative media. I think it was on The View with Meghan McCain complaining about, oh my God, it's a travesty. And again, it all sounded like it was pointed back at Joe Biden, like he specifically ordered these people off his property. The Democrats somehow kicked them out once they felt stiffed. They felt supposedly the National Guard felt unwanted. And I don't know. I haven't talked to any National Guard myself, but I think once a mission's over, especially in that kind of mission, you especially don't want the armed military in our capital. It doesn't look good for the country. It doesn't look good for the world that we have our army, our armed soldiers in the capital. So I can understand how it would be best for everybody to move them on ASAP. And I don't think that the Democrats, the senators, the congressmen, or Joe Biden have anything to do with portalets or Wi-Fi at the National Guard's next stop. Just some thoughts in Trump world today. One more interesting thing. A Texas lawyer filed a lawsuit. This is a real thing. I'll put the links down below. He cited The Lord of the Rings. True story. Gondor has no king. This is a real lawsuit that he's going to put in front of a judge. A Trump supporter, a lawyer in Texas. I'll put the links down below. He cited that in this story in Lord of the Rings, Gondor was Aragorn, the king, was jailed, and his people took to looking over the kingdom. So it's this Texas attorney's reasoning in this lawsuit that Trump's own cabinet be put in charge of the country right now, and Joe Biden be escorted out, citing it similar to Lord of the Rings and Gondor has no king. It's a real thing. I wouldn't have believed it. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't read it. Links are down below. I'll see you guys later. I'll have another video this afternoon. You guys have a great Saturday.